At 58, Eleanor Davis believed her life had reached its final chapter. Her children had grown and flown the nest, scattering across cities and continents, their voices now distant echoes in the warmth of her memories. Her beloved husband, her constant companion, her confidant, her soulmate for nearly 35 years, was gone. His passing had been sudden and sharp, pain slicing through her world like a storm that swept away everything she once thought was solid. The house, once alive with laughter, footsteps, and whispered endearments, now stood quiet. Every shadow a memory, every silence a testament to loss. In the months that followed, Eleanor moved through her days in a fog, performing the rituals of living almost by rote. She brewed coffee for one, set a single place at the kitchen table, and watered the garden her husband had once tended with gentle hands. Familiar routines, once comforting, now felt hollow. The world outside seemed to move on without her, bright and bustling, while she lingered in the half-light of grief. Yet, as spring tiptoed in on the heels of a long winter, something within Eleanor began to shift. It started with the garden. One morning, as she sipped her coffee, she noticed the first brave crocus pushing through the soil. Purple petals, fragile yet determined, reaching for the sun. She knelt beside it, brushing the dirt away from its base, and felt a pang of something she hadn't recognized in months: hope. The garden became her refuge. Each day she coaxed new life from the earth. She pruned roses, untangled vines, and planted seeds with trembling hands. In nurturing the garden, she found herself slowly nurturing her own soul. There was solace in the cycles of nature, comfort in the quiet persistence of growth after devastation. The birds returned, filling the mornings with song, and Eleanor listened, letting their music fill the empty spaces within her heart. Her children called, urging her to visit, to consider moving closer. But Eleanor declined. She needed this time, this sacred solitude, to rediscover herself outside the roles she had played for so long: mother, wife, caretaker. For the first time in decades, she asked herself, who am I, when I am only me? One afternoon, while sorting through old boxes in the attic, Eleanor stumbled upon a stack of journals from her 20s. She leafed through the yellowed pages, rediscovering dreams she had set aside long ago, travels she had imagined, books she wanted to write, paintings she hoped to create. The words were a window to a younger Eleanor, full of curiosity and longing. She smiled through tears, both mourning the years lost and marveling at the dreams that still lived within her. Inspired by those forgotten aspirations, Eleanor began to make small changes. She dusted off her easel and set up a corner in the sunroom, letting the light spill across blank canvases. She painted in bold, sweeping strokes, pouring grief and gratitude into each brushstroke. Her hands remembered the feel of paint, the way colors could blend and bleed, capturing emotions words failed to express. She joined a book club at the local library, where strangers became friends over shared stories and laughter. Every week, Eleanor found herself looking forward to the meetings, where she could lose herself in lively discussions and discover new perspectives. She volunteered at the community center, teaching art classes to children, delighting in their boundless creativity and the way their joy proved contagious. Eleanor also began to travel, at first timidly, then with growing confidence. She explored nearby towns, relishing the freedom of the open road, the thrill of discovery. She visited art galleries, hiked through quiet forests, and sat in bustling cafes, sketching faces and capturing fleeting moments in her journal. Each journey, no matter how small, felt like a reclamation of the self she thought she had lost. Loneliness lingered, but it was tempered by moments of connection. Neighbors stopped by with fresh-baked bread and stories of their own losses and joys. She learned to accept help, to let others in, and to offer her own comfort in return. Grief, she realized, was not a burden to be carried alone, but a thread woven through the tapestry of shared human experience. As seasons turned, Eleanor found herself settling into a new rhythm. She wrote letters to her children, not just as a mother, but as a woman with her own adventures and reflections. She invited them home for holidays, filling the house once more with laughter and the scent of baking bread. She honored her husband's memory by tending the garden they had loved together, planting his favorite flowers and telling stories to the grandchildren who came to visit. One crisp autumn evening, as she stood on the porch watching the sunset paint the sky in shades of gold and crimson, Eleanor realized something profound. Life, she thought, is not a book with a single ending, but a collection of stories, each chapter unfolding in its own time. Loss had changed her, yes, but it had also gifted her with a deeper appreciation for the beauty and fragility of every moment. Eleanor's days were no longer marked only by absence, but by presence. A presence she cultivated in every act of creation, every new friendship, every quiet moment of reflection. She learned to cherish solitude without fearing it, to find meaning in small joys, and to embrace both the ache and the wonder of being alive. In time, Eleanor became a source of inspiration to others in her community. She spoke openly about grief and resilience, about the courage it takes to begin again. Her story was not one of endings, but of transformation, a testament to the human spirit's capacity to heal, to grow, and to flourish even in the aftermath of loss. And so at 58, Eleanor Davis did not reach the final chapter of her life. Instead, she turned a new page, discovering that every ending contains the seeds of a beginning. She learned that love endures, not only in memory, but in the ways we choose to live, to create, and to connect with others. In the quiet bloom of her garden, in the laughter of friends, in the colors that danced across her canvas, Eleanor found the promise of renewal, a gentle reminder that life's story is never truly finished, as long as we have the courage to keep writing.